The magic pencil. The discovery. In the small, quiet town of Willowbrook, nestled between rolling hills and dense forests, lived a young girl named Eliza. She was an ordinary girl with an extraordinary imagination. Eliza spent most of her days exploring the woods, reading books, and drawing in her sketchpad. Her drawings were her escape, a way to bring her vivid dreams to life. One crisp autumn afternoon, Eliza decided to venture deeper into the forest than she ever had before. The leaves crunched beneath her feet, and the air was filled with the scent of pine and earth. As she wandered, she stumbled upon an old, gnarled tree with a hollow trunk. Curiosity piqued, she peered inside and saw something glinting in the dim light. Reaching in, Eliza pulled out a small, ornate box. It was made of dark wood, intricately carved with swirling patterns and symbols she didn't recognize. Her heart raced as she opened the box, revealing a single golden pencil. It was unlike any pencil she had ever seen, with a sharp, shimmering tip and a body that seemed to glow faintly. Eliza's fingers trembled as she picked up the pencil. It felt warm to the touch, as if it had a life of its own. She glanced around, half expecting someone to appear and claim it, but the forest was silent. With a mix of excitement and trepidation, she tucked the pencil into her pocket and hurried home. The first stroke. That night, Eliza sat at her desk, the golden pencil in hand. She opened her sketch pad to a blank page and hesitated. What should she draw? Her mind raced with possibilities. Finally, she decided to sketch a simple flower, a rose with delicate petals and thorns. As the pencil touched the paper, something extraordinary happened. The lines she drew seemed to come alive, glowing faintly as if infused with magic. Eliza's eyes widened as the rose began to take on a three-dimensional form, rising off the page. She gasped, dropping the pencil as the fully formed rose materialized before her, its petals soft and fragrant. Eliza reached out, her fingers brushing against the rose. It was real. She pinched herself to make sure she wasn't dreaming. The rose was there, tangible and beautiful. Her heart pounded with a mix of fear and exhilaration. She had discovered a magic pencil, one that could bring her drawings to life. The power unleashed. Over the next few days, Eliza experimented with a pencil, careful to keep her creations hidden. She drew small objects at first, a butterfly, a toy car, a piece of fruit. Each time the drawings sprang to life, perfect in every detail. The butterfly fluttered around her room, the toy car rolled across her desk, and the fruit tasted sweet and juicy. Eliza's imagination ran wild with possibilities. She could create anything she wanted, anything she could dream up. But with this power came a sense of responsibility. She knew she had to be careful to use the pencil wisely. She couldn't let anyone else know about it, or it might fall into the wrong hands. One evening, as Eliza sat by her window, she noticed a stray cat wandering the streets. It looked thin and hungry, its fur matted and dirty. Eliza's heart ached for the poor creature. She quickly sketched a bowl of milk and a plate of fish. As the drawing came to life, she placed the food outside her window. The cat approached cautiously, then devoured the meal with gusto. Eliza smiled, feeling a sense of fulfillment. She had used the pencil to help someone or something in need. It was a small act, but it gave her hope that she could make a difference. The shadow. As the days turned into weeks, Eliza's confidence grew. She began to create more elaborate drawings, a treehouse in the backyard, a new dress for herself, even a small robot to help with her chores. Each creation was a testament to her growing skill and imagination. But one night, as Eliza was drawing a beautiful landscape, she noticed something strange. The pencil seemed to grow heavier in her hand, and the lines she drew were darker, more intense. She shook her head, thinking it was just her imagination, and continued to draw. When she finished, the landscape was breathtaking, a lush meadow with a sparkling river surrounded by towering mountains. But as she admired her work, she noticed a shadowy figure in the distance, barely visible but undeniably there. It was a man, cloaked in darkness, with eyes that glowed like embers. Eliza's breath caught in her throat. She hadn't drawn the figure. It had appeared on its own. She quickly erased it, but the shadow remained, flickering at the edge of the drawing. A chill ran down her spine. Something was wrong. The warning. The next morning, Eliza woke to find her room in disarray. Her sketchpad was open to the landscape drawing, and the shadowy figure was now more prominent, its eyes burning with a malevolent light. The pencil lay beside the pad, its golden glow dimmed. Eliza's heart raced as she realized the figure was moving, slowly but surely, towards the foreground of the drawing. She slammed the sketchpad shut, her hands trembling. What was happening? Was the pencil cursed? Had she unleashed something dangerous? Determined to find answers, Eliza decided to visit the old tree where she had found the pencil. She packed a small bag with supplies and set off into the forest, the pencil safely tucked away in her pocket. The journey was longer than she remembered, and the forest seemed darker, more foreboding. When she finally reached the tree, she found it unchanged, its hollow trunk waiting like a silent sentinel. Eliza knelt down and peered inside, hoping to find some clue, some explanation. But the hollow was empty, save for a single piece of parchment. She pulled it out and unfolded it, her eyes scanning the faded writing. It was a warning, written in an ancient script. Beware the magic pencil, for it holds great power. But with power comes danger, and the shadow will rise. Only the pure of heart can control its might, but even the purest heart can be corrupted. Use it wisely or face the consequences. Eliza's hand shook as she read the words. The shadow in her drawing was real, a manifestation of the pencil's dark side. She had to be careful, to resist the temptation to use it for selfish purposes. But how could she stop the shadow from growing stronger? The battle within. Eliza returned home, her mind racing with fear and uncertainty. She locked the pencil in a drawer, determined to keep it hidden. But as the days passed, she felt its pull, its silent call to create. Her sketchpad remained untouched, but the urge to draw grew stronger, almost unbearable. One night, unable to resist any longer, Eliza unlocked the drawer and took out the pencil. She opened her sketchpad to a blank page and began to draw. This time, she decided to create something beautiful, something that would counteract the shadow. She drew a radiant sun, its golden rays spreading across the page. As the sun came to life, filling her room with warm, golden light, Eliza felt a sense of peace. The shadow in her landscape drawing seemed to recede, its malevolent glow dimmed. She smiled, thinking she had found a way to control the darkness. But the peace was short-lived. The next morning, she woke to find the sun drawing had faded, its light extinguished. The shadow in the landscape was stronger than ever, its eyes burning with a fierce intensity. Eliza realized that the darkness was growing, feeding off her fear and doubt. The turning point. Eliza knew she had to confront the shadow, to face the darkness within herself. She took a deep breath and opened her sketchpad to the landscape drawing. The shadowy figure was now at the forefront, its eyes locked on hers. She could feel its presence, a cold, malevolent force that seemed to seep into her very soul. With trembling hands, Eliza picked up the pencil. She knew she had to draw something powerful, something that could banish the shadow forever. She closed her eyes and focused on her happiest memories, the warmth of the sun on her face, the laughter of her friends, the love of her family. She poured all of these feelings into her drawing, creating a radiant, glowing figure, a guardian of light. As the guardian came to life, it stood tall and majestic, its light pushing back the darkness. The shadow hissed and recoiled, its form wavering. Eliza's heart pounded as she watched the battle unfold on the page. The guardian raised its hand, and a beam of pure light shot forth, striking the shadow. For a moment, the shadow seemed to dissolve, its form breaking apart. But then, with a final desperate surge, it lunged at the guardian, engulfing it in darkness. Eliza's breath caught as the light was extinguished, and the shadow emerged victorious. Tears streamed down her face as she realized the truth. The shadow was a part of her, a manifestation of her fears and doubts. She couldn't defeat it with light alone. She had to confront it, to accept it as a part of herself. The final drawing. Eliza took a deep breath and picked up the pencil once more. This time, she didn't draw light or darkness. She drew herself, standing tall and strong, facing the shadow with courage and determination. She poured all of her emotions into the drawing, her fear, her doubt, but also her hope and her love. As the drawing came to life, Eliza felt a surge of power. The shadow hesitated, its glowing eyes narrowing. She stepped forward, her drawn self mirroring her movements. The shadow lunged, but Eliza stood her ground, her eyes locked on its. With a final, powerful stroke, Eliza drew a heart glowing with pure, radiant light. The heart floated between her and the shadow, pulsating with energy. The shadow recoiled, its form wavering as the light engulfed it. With a final, desperate scream, it dissolved into nothingness. Eliza's room was filled with a warm, golden light. The landscape drawing was now peaceful, the shadow gone. She felt a sense of relief and triumph, knowing she had faced her fears and emerged stronger. A new beginning. Eliza knew she couldn't keep the pencil. Its power was too great, too dangerous. She returned to the old tree in the forest, the pencil in hand. As she placed it back in the hollow trunk, she felt a sense of closure. The pencil had taught her valuable lessons about herself, about the power of imagination, and the importance of facing one's fears. As she walked away, Eliza felt a sense of peace. She knew she would always carry the memories of her magical adventure, but she also knew it was time to move on. She had a world of possibilities ahead of her, and she was ready to face them with courage and determination. The magic pencil remained in the hollow tree, waiting for the next pure-hearted soul to discover it. And though Eliza never saw it again, she knew it would always be a part of her, a reminder of the power within herself. Epilogue. Years later, Eliza became a renowned artist. Her works celebrated for their beauty and depth. She often thought about the magic pencil and the lessons it had taught her. Though she never spoke of it, she knew it had shaped her in ways she could never fully explain. And in the quiet town of Willowbrook, the old tree stood as a silent guardian, its hollow trunk holding a secret that would one day be discovered again. For the magic pencil was not just a tool, but a test of the heart, of the soul, and of the power of imagination. And so the legend of the magic pencil lived on, a tale of wonder and caution, of light and shadow, and of the eternal battle within us all.